Most car accident claims aren't worth much. I'll reveal why and what you can do to increase your odds at getting a large settlement. The best way to explain why most auto accident payouts are so small is to look at Odalis and her son Manuel's car crash. They'd recently moved to Florida from South Dakota. Odalis and Manuel were living paycheck to paycheck like most Americans, just trying to get by. They were passengers in a car heading down a sunny Miami, Florida street. Manuel's girlfriend was driving the car. The next thing they knew, they heard a piercing sound of brakes and an impact that sounded like thunder. A car had crashed into the back of the car that they were in. Their bodies were thrown forward and then backward. The impact was so hard that it bent the metal all over the back of the car. Immediately after the impact, Odalis had radiating neck pain and back pain and pain in her shoulder. Her mind raced, thinking about her son and the life they had only just started in Florida. At the crash scene, the other driver gave the police officer their insurance card. You'll see why this matters in just a moment. Someone called 911 and an ambulance rushed Odalis to the hospital. Manuel didn't take an ambulance. At the hospital, they took CT scans of Odalis and Manuel. The doctor told her to avoid sudden movements and avoid lifting heavy objects and pushing or pulling. Odalis cleaned houses and Manuel washed cars for a living. Odalis's doctor told her not to work and she lost her job as a housekeeper. Each time she tried to see if she could clean, she had too much pain in her neck, back, and her shoulder. They were forced to live in a motel and it wasn't a nice one. Odalis and Manuel didn't know where to start, so they contacted me and hired me as their lawyer. What was nerve-wracking was that she didn't know if the at-fault driver had valid insurance. Just because the other driver shows the officer an insurance card, it doesn't mean it's valid. For example, their policy could have been canceled after they got that insurance card. We needed the other driver to have bodily injury liability coverage on their insurance policy. That coverage is called BI coverage and it pays for your lost wages, medical bills, and pain and suffering. Why does insurance matter? Because it's 10 times easier to get money from another driver's insurance company than it is to get them to pay personally. Most drivers who can't afford to carry BI coverage usually don't have any money to pay you. Although in another case, I just had a driver pay us $15,000 personally, but that was in addition to their insurance company paying their big insurance policy that wasn't enough to cover the value of my client's case. I wish I could tell you that I often get the at-fault driver to pay us personally above their insurance limit, but the truth is it's rare. Back to Odalis's case where we got a glimmer of hope. I got the crash report and it listed an insurance company for the driver who got the ticket. I quickly asked the other driver's insurance company for their coverage amount. This matters because you want to know how much money is available to pay your case. The at-fault driver's insurance limit is the most that their insurance company owes you. Of course, you need to be able to prove your damages to get that policy limit. The bad news is the other driver's insurance has 30 long days to reveal their coverage. So the other insurance company may take a long time to tell you what their insurance limit is. I don't think that they take a long time purposely. After all, adjusters want to close claims. A high-level adjuster recently said, the only good claim is a closed claim. The fact that she wrote it 3 times isn't a typo. She's making a point. She went on to say that insurance companies don't intentionally delay claims. Here's my thoughts as a lawyer who's represented several hundred people in car crash claims. I actually sort of agree with her. Insurance adjusters want to close claims, but there's 2 issues that I repeatedly see. First, insurance companies give adjusters way too many claims at once. Many adjusters have over 200 claims at one time. That is a crazy amount of claims. So after the adjuster looks at your claim, they may not look at it again for a long time. And that's because they're busy working on other claims. Most claim adjusters don't think to themselves, I'm purposely going to wait to pay this person making a claim. I'm going to make them suffer. But the reality is they can't work on your claim if they don't have the time. And like I said, adjusters have limited time because they're so overworked. During Odalis's case, she'd call our office and ask if we got any news about the other driver's insurance limit. I also investigated to see whether the car that Odalis was in had uninsured motorist coverage. Uninsured motorist coverage covers you if the other driver doesn't have bodily injury liability insurance or enough of it. It would cover Odalis and Manuel if the other driver had no coverage. Think of uninsured motorist coverage like a safety net. Unfortunately, I learned that the car that Odalis and Manuel were passengers in was uninsured. I told her this and I could hear her desperation. Any chance of us making an uninsured motorist insurance claim was gone. So the first reason why so many auto accident claims are worthless is the following. Most drivers don't carry uninsured motorist insurance. And if they do, it's often just $10,000, which may sound like a lot of money, but it's not a lot with the rising costs of medical bills. And often your injury case is worth a huge amount more than the policy limit. This meant that any chance of Odalis or Manuel getting money would be from the other driver's insurance policy. I got a call from Odalis and I could tell that she was nervous. I heard Manuel's voice in the background with a little bit of concern, but he was hopeful as well. I told her that our beacon of hope was dependent on the other driver. For days and nights, we held our breath, awaiting the news. Did the other driver have an active insurance policy? And if so, what were the policy limits? To add to Odalis and Manuel's stress, the motel owner threw them out because they couldn't pay. Then we got news that changed everything. The other insurance company told us that their insured driver had $25,000 in BI coverage per person. The per accident policy limit was $50,000. So $50,000 is the most they'd have to pay for all the personal injury claims combined. And the most that any one person could get is $25,000. Hearing the $25,000 figure, I felt a glimmer of hope, but then reality set in. Odalis and Manuel could each only get up to $25,000 if the driver of the car that they were in did not make a claim. If the driver of the car that Manuel and Odalis were in made a claim, any payment she got would cut into the amount that Odalis and Manuel could get. And Manuel and Odalis still had some hospital bills. So I wonder if any settlement would be enough to cover Odalis and Manuel's hospital bills and put money in their pocket. Even though we face these questions, Odalis and Manuel were lucky. I say this because millions of drivers don't carry $25,000 in BI coverage like the other driver in this case. They either have no insurance or just $10,000 or a little more. That's the second reason why most car accident claims aren't worth much. Odalis was still in pain, so we referred her to a doctor. She only went to a few visits. This is the third reason why most car accident claims aren't worth much money. It's that most people don't need much medical treatment. Most pain from car accidents goes away fast, which is great for your health, but bad for your case. We then waited to see if the driver of the car that Odalis was in was going to make a claim. And then we encountered another hurdle. The other driver's insurance company hired a lawyer. Were they going to fight this case and make us sue and possibly spend a long time in court? I made a demand to them to pay the $25,000 limit to Odalis and an additional $25,000 limit to Manuel. I told them I'd sue their insured driver if they didn't pay. After our persistence, our determination paid off. We successfully got a settlement of $25,000 each for Odalis and Manuel. When Odalis received the news, I could feel her gratitude. She now could afford a place to live in and put food on the table. This wasn't just about the money. It was about justice, closure, and helping them rebuild a life that was disrupted by this unforeseen accident. Thankfully, Odalis' story had a happy ending, but many people injured in car accidents are left without getting paid. And it's often because they don't know these simple claim tips that may massively increase their payout chances. To find out what these powerful claim tactics are, watch the video that's on screen or click the link in the description below. And if you're injured in a car accident in Florida and you think that someone else may be at fault, click on the link in the description below to see if I could be the lawyer for you.